Viewers, there was yet another instance of an attack on a Hindu procession in Canada recently. This time there were eggs that were thrown at a Rath Yatra in Canada. Well, nothing new. It is part of a pattern. It is part of a pattern that is becoming more regular, more frequent, with Canada now becoming the hotbed of Khalistani terrorism, targeting India and targeting Hindus. And we will tell you how it started, who is funding this, how big a security threat it has become for India. And make no mistake, what endangers India today is set to destabilize Canada tomorrow as well. And that's why it's important to decode this fault line, viewers. Let's first start. Let's first play out this graphics that tell you what has happened so far in terms of the recurring events that are taking place. I'm going to put that out, viewers, for you to know what all has happened, the recent instances that tell you why this is at the heart of the India-Canada relations. Now, you can see that first and foremost, these recurring themes that are coming in, which is attack on Hindus, attack on their religious festivals. First and foremost, Lord Jagannath Rath Yatra pelted with eggs in Toronto. Let's move ahead to tell you how Khalistanis are actually flourishing under Mark Carney. Next up, Kapil Sharma's cafe in Surrey was hit by 9 shots. Next, as we decode why this is a pattern, why this is happening again and again, in British Columbia legislature, there was in fact a red carpet that was rolled for pro-Khalistani singer Jazzy B. So as you can see, viewers, this is not a one-off event. There are instances that are happening regularly, which is why this fault line is defining Canada today and is going to define the relationship between India and Canada as well. Let's move ahead and tell you how Modi effigies were actually cage rolled in Khalistan rally. Then there was a Gurudwara that was vandalized. Then there was also a Sukh Dhaliwal who was seen with Khalistani flags. And he is in fact the same MP, viewers, who actually last year started this whole campaign that was about he wants to sponsor a petition which is going to once again relook as far as the 1984 Air India bombing is concerned, essentially panning and fanning the same sentiments that Khalistanis have been all along saying, falsely claiming that Indian government is responsible for that. You can see what he is doing here. Canada's top intelligence agency has actually warned that this is a major issue. In the annual report in Parliament last month, the Canadian Security Intel Security, CSIS, had actually said that these extremists, represented by a small group of 6, actually pose one of the biggest security threat to Canada and in fact are hurting Canadian interests as well. So you can see how CSIS has also red flagged Khalistani issue. The next, now which are the hot spots of Khalistan in Canada? Canada is a very large country, one of the largest in the world, next only to Russia. And there are pockets where the Khalistani separatists are calling the shots. Which are those? Brampton, Surrey, Greater Toronto area and Metro Vancouver. This is where they are located, where they are powerful economically and politically as well, which is why it's important to note about this. But there are some voices, some moderate voices that have come to fore in this, and you are looking at some of these, Navdeep Bens, Ruby Sahota, Raj Grewal, Ravi Kahlon and Gurmant Grewal. These voices, viewers, need to be seen in more light, needs to be viewed as one understands what the entire issue is. Well, now decades of Khalistan extremism, from Air India to glorified assassins, all trace back to Canada, where Mark Carney promised a reset, but he hasn't acted. Terror networks continue to grow, they continue to get emboldened. Ottawa is running out of time because it has no options. I told you the entire sequence of events, how they are getting powerful economically, socially, politically. But this report tells you that this didn't happen today. This started 40 years back. The Khalistani propaganda did not become a big problem for Canada overnight. It took them 45 years to reach here. And this report, viewers, is going to tell you and decode that entire timeline for you in greater detail.
The Khalistani movement, the so-called quest for a Sikh homeland, was propaganda born in pain, nurtured by partition, and globalized by violence. In 1971, it announced itself in the New York Times. In 1984, it bled India during Operation Blue Star. And by 1985, it had crossed oceans, exploding mid-air on Air India Flight 182, killing 329. For over 40 years, Canada, first under Pierre Trudeau, then under his son Justin, became a soft haven for extremists India labels terrorists. It was under Trudeau Sr. that the first wave of Khalistani settlers found refuge, many fleeing prosecution, some spreading ideology, setting the stage for a future of diaspora activism pipeline. Tableaus glorifying Indira Gandhi's assassination, Khalistan referendums in Brampton, and rallies led by US-designated radical groups flourished under the guise of free speech. When Nijjar, a wanted terrorist in India, was killed in 2023, Justin Trudeau accused India with zero proof. India accused Canada of harboring extremists, a diplomatic chill followed, and the votes kept counting. The Khalistan cause gained not because it had support, but because it had leverage. Canada's 800,000 strong Sikh population became an electoral goldmine. Politicians pandered, and Trudeau stayed silent. Jagmeet Singh's NDP echoed diaspora anger. Then came the 2025 upset. Mark Carney, the former Bank of Canada governor, defeated Trudeau on a campaign promising integrity and order. Khalistani extremism isn't just a Canadian dilemma anymore. US consulates have been attacked, Hindu temples vandalized. What started as a separatist whisper has turned into an international threat, fueled by ideology, money, and militancy.
So viewers, to understand this fault line, we took you through and walked you through the sequence of events. Then we told you how this is not a new phenomena. This report told you how it goes back to Trudeau Sr. about 50 years back. And since then, after the Kanishka air bombing, Khalistani movement has become much bigger, threatening not just Indian security interests, but Canadian security interests as well. And I'm now going to get a moderate voice from the community to understand why this is now an issue that is such a political hot potato as well. Ujjwal Dosanjh, who's a former Attorney General and Premier of British Columbia, former Minister of Health for Canada, joins me on the broadcast. Mr. Dosanjh, thanks much for speaking to me on fault lines. Let me start by asking you, the K-terror instances that I just highlighted on fault lines for our viewers to understand are becoming more recurrent, more frequent, and becoming more dangerous. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I've always believed that it's been the intention of the Khalistanis. By the way, before I say that, I mean, we all know that Khalistan is a Pakistani project. It started in the 70s after the Bangladesh war. So in that context, you have to understand these elements. I've always believed that in the diaspora, it's been the intention of the Khalistanis, the diehard Khalistanis, to sow division amongst Hindus and Sikhs, where none existed in India or exists today. And then they're hoping that they will import or export that division from here into India to achieve their objective. That's the plan of their masters, and they are simply carrying it out. I have always believed that to be the truth.
Mr. Dosanjh, I'm glad you pointed out that this is also a Pakistani project that has now become extremely big and impacting countries, their bilateral interests, and something needs to be done about it. Then let me ask you this, that when Mark Carney came to power, it almost seemed that he was willing to address this. It seemed that he doesn't want to go down and go the Justin Trudeau playbook, where he fanned those interests because he had Jagmeet Singh as a coalition member. But that doesn't seem to be the case. Looks like Mark Carney is pretty much following Justin Trudeau's script.
Yes and no. The difficulty is that, when these kinds of incidents happen, the prime ministers don't run and make statements about them. The police go into action and try and investigate if a crime has been committed and take appropriate action. I think, generally speaking, sometimes politicians do speak out on the freedom of expression, and Hindus doing their annual parade or yatra is their right, just like others do their marches annually or otherwise, and therefore any undue interference with that by private individuals is a restriction of that freedom, is an impingement on that freedom. And I think politicians, perhaps not the prime minister, but the politicians in the ruling political party, have an obligation to express their anger and their frustration and their concern at events like that. Sometimes politicians run to express their opinions. At other times, they don't. And this may be one of the latter occasions.
Okay, so you're giving the benefit of doubt, so to say, to
Well,
Mark
I think
Carney.
that
But let me ask you this. So you're giving the benefit of doubt to Mark Carney, but I want to ask you this. What happens to areas, pockets like British Columbia, an area that you know so well? What does one do there? Because those are hotbeds. Those are pockets where Khalistanis are very significant. What should be done there?
Well, I think that first of all, anytime something happens in these countries and is done by the Khalistanis, India perhaps doesn't need to express concern unless it goes into violence and disruption and impingement on the rights of minorities that originally belonged to India. And in this case, I think the government of India is genuinely concerned, as it should be, about the diaspora not having equal rights. But I think the local officials, the RCMP, the local police forces, the local politicians and public leadership, they need to be concerned. We've had the recent spectacles of Khalistanis attacking Hindu temples, supporters of Hamas openly targeting places of worship of the Jews, and having running battles with the police forces in this country. Generally speaking, the politicians in this country have failed to speak up and say that this is not the kind of Canada we want to build. People ought to have the right of free expression within the usual norms and standards practiced by a civic society. When that is violated, then the public leadership has an obligation to express its opinion.
Okay, I'm going to leave it there, Mr. Dosanjh. Thanks much for speaking to me and decoding that fault line as far as the K-terror that runs across Canada. Well, viewers, the bottom line as far as this is concerned is that Khalistan is a concept that didn't just come out of nowhere. It's a carefully crafted strategy of Pakistan, of its deep spy network since the 1960s, 1970s. ISI has actively supported, funded, trained, promoted the Khalistani network. It provided the terrorists safe havens. And Canada has all along allowed Khalistanis to run amok in the name of freedom of expression. Justin Trudeau did so as well. So did his father. But this nexus is clear, one between international gangsters, ISI's funding lines, and the youth of Punjab that provide a steady flow to those willing to cross over to the extreme side. Well, for long, Pakistan has had dreams of fulfilling its K2 plan, Kashmir and Khalistan. India's strategic, military and diplomatic maneuvers have meant Pakistan's Kashmir rant has no impact whatsoever. But this also means it's doubling down on its Khalistani project. And it's time Mark Carney is made to act against this before it gets too late, as CSIS also worries it is going to have an impact on Canada's security. All right, viewers, on that note, we slip into a short break. We come back on the other side and tell you about the second fault line that we are decoding on the show, the one that runs across the vast Indo-Pacific. Why there are now 19 countries in the biggest ever military drill on the seas against China. We tell you on that. Stay with us.
Cricket updates brought to you by Remitly. Send money home safely with Remitly.
Ayer no tenía comida y la niña estaba mal. Lloró. Estábamos tristes.
Fatoon, Leolida, and Monica are caught in the biggest global hunger crisis of the 21st century. Millions of children all over the world are going hungry because of conflict, displacement, and extreme weather. We urgently need your help to fight acute hunger and malnutrition. Please search Save the Children or visit savethechildren.org.uk to give £5 a month. Your £5 a month can help us give hungry families life-saving food and provide malnourished children the treatment they need to recover. No child should go hungry, so please donate today. Search Save the Children or visit savethechildren.org.uk to give £5 a month. Thank you.
New Sure Whole Body Deodorant. All day odour protection. Sure, it won't let you down.
I've bought cars on finance, so I've made my claim.
My lenders charge hidden commissions. I've made my claim. I could be owed thousands.
I've made my claim.
I've made my claim.
I've made my claim.
It's so quick and simple.
You could be owed thousands in hidden commissions from vehicles bought on finance since 2007, even without the details.
I've made my claim.
Trust myclaimgroup.co.uk.
Claims made simple.
Just sorted my guaranteed over 50 plan with Sun Life. There's even a cash payout.
Nice one.
It's given me the confidence to look after myself. I've started learning jiu-jitsu.
Come on.
Do you need a doctor?
Oh, no. With Sun Life, there's no medical questions.
Search Sun Life Plan today and get a free gift card.
How long's it been then?
We met about 8 years back. What? Yeah, serious relationship.
He has this way of looking into my eyes.
Knows how to treat me. Gentle, considerate.
Did I tell you he owns his own business?
I think he's going to pop the question.
Better or worse?
Better.
Our opticians and audiologists own their stores, so your care is their business, which can make them rather popular.
Apparently, he's seeing half the town.
Book an appointment today.
Viewers, the other fault line that we are telling now is the one that is in the Indo-Pacific region, where China is flexing its muscles, where it deployed 3-ship flotilla to circumnavigate Australia earlier this year. Is set to be now the biggest contestation, the Indo-Pacific region. China's show of force has been followed by the biggest multinational war game in Australia, Talisman Sabre 2025. There have been 35,000 troops, 19 countries, which for the first time included Papua New Guinea, a country that is at the epicenter of the Australia-China conflict of influence in the South China Sea. The exercise is the clearest signal yet that Indo-Pacific security will require the Trump administration to remain fully invested. In fact, it's no longer theoretical. It's live on the ground and in motion. Our next report takes you deep inside the world's largest coordinated military drill below the equator and lays down what it really means for the region's balance of power. Let's play that out.
Countries come because they want to both be experts with themselves, but like Australia, we recognise we're stronger when we're operating with partners. This is why we have 19 countries here partnering to make sure they're as capable with each other as they can be.
That was the Australian military chief talking about why this entire exercise is so important. And this report will tell you more about the drill, the significance of this, and why this will be important if the Indo-Pacific tensions escalate from here on.
Across Australia, the terrain is alive with movement. Fighter jets tear through the clouds, amphibious craft carve through surf, naval convoys hold formation. This is Exercise Talisman Sabre 2025, a display of military coordination on a scale this region has never seen. Once a US-Australia bilateral drill, it now draws 35,000 troops from 19 nations. The goal, not conquest but clarity, to prove that coordination and peace is the best guardrail against conflict. But just off the radar, another game plays out. Chinese surveillance vessels trail the exercises, collecting signals, watching every move. No warnings, no dialogue, just a studied silence, strategic, precise, and unmistakable. Meanwhile, tensions spill into other waters. Germany accuses a Chinese warship of firing a laser at its reconnaissance aircraft during a Red Sea mission. The plane returned to base, but diplomacy didn't. Beijing denies the claim. Berlin calls it reckless. Brussels agrees. It's a pattern forming. Back in the Indo-Pacific, the strategic chessboard keeps shifting. India steps forward. The UK deploys its carrier strike group. Their declarations. Oceania is no longer a military backwater. It's now a focal point of global deterrence.
So this report told you what is really happening as far as this exercise is concerned. And now I'm going to tell you why is it that Indo-Pacific is going to be extremely important going forward. Let's put that out, viewers, for you to better understand that Indo-Pacific is the area where China's footprint is deepening. For long, China has been wanting to have a large play in this region, and those ambitions have led to very aggressive outward aggression tactics that have impacted not just Taiwan, but across the board. Belt and Road initiatives are around the world, but most significant in the South China region. All ASEAN countries, several others, those farther into the Pacific, are being pumped into, money is being pumped through the Belt and Road Initiative, which is how China is gaining even more leverage here. Exercises near the Australian coastline are growing more frequent. The one that it did this year in February, March was meant to send a very strong message to Australia. And Australia is extremely vulnerable because it is also China's largest trading partner, and it also faces the biggest security maritime threat from China as well. And Australia is also an alliance partner of the US, which complicates things further. Now, there is a triangle that is taking form there, and Taiwan is no longer the exception. Let's put that out. Taiwan is not the only one that is said to be most impacted if there is greater Chinese aggression. It could be several other countries, Australia being one, but the entire ASEAN region also likely to be impacted. Next, US has tested the dependability of its allies in this region to understand through this exercise, through Talisman Sabre, as to where things stand in the event that there is an actual conflict. This also coincides with America's largest exercise that has taken place at the same time in the Pacific region. So which is why this is so important. But China has responded to it. It is also sending messages, and there is an expectation that as this exercise concludes, China may come out with an even stronger message to Australia, who, as I said, has a very precarious position. India has also moved on this with a lot of purpose, and the entire region is likely to redefine its role as this entire exercise comes to a close, viewers. And viewers, as far as this entire area is concerned, let's not forget that it takes one bullet, one stray instance for things to actually escalate. Germany's claim of a laser attack, Australia's close encounters in the Tasman, they are all friction points, but part of a larger concern. And that concern is that China wants to dominate the Indo-Pacific, control the seas that are lifeline to world's 40% of oil traffic. China's expanding naval activity all the way from the contested waters near Taiwan to the live fire zones off Australia's coast. This is not just simple posturing, it's normalization of proximity, of unpredictability, and something that is now going to be responded. This is the time when India has also participated in this. It marks a significant step in New Delhi's expanding military diplomacy, its strategic outreach, its ambitions as a major naval player in this region. After all, Indo-Pacific is named after India. It's also the core member of the Quad grouping, along with US, Japan, Australia. And India's presence underscores its commitment in terms of ensuring that there is a rules-based order in the Indo-Pacific, something that is likely to be a key focus area going forward, because as things stand, China isn't going to back down. Remains to be seen the learnings from Talisman Sabre, how the world is going to use, how these 19 countries are going to use against China going forward. All right, viewers, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Fault Lines. We're going to come back in our next episode with 2 more fault lines, 2 more issues that need to be decoded, where we go beyond the headlines and beyond the divide. But thanks so much for watching this edition.
If your garage looks like this, you need Tougher Man. A leading supplier of shelving for your home or business. Assembly is quick, easy and boltless. Buy 1 bay from just $59.99, or you can get 3 bays from only $119.99, saving you nearly £60. Plus you get a 5-year Storelex steel guarantee. Order now at tougherman.co.uk.
I'm in. Okay, now, you can have a great first day. I promise, all right? Give me that.
Your donations helped 3D print his heart to guide his surgery, and saved his life with a groundbreaking innovation. And the future breakthrough that could cure her is closer than ever. Help us turn science fiction into reality and save more lives like hers. Donate to the British Heart Foundation now.
John from work said it's a lovely hike.
Right, Rosie, can I have the boots bag? No, I meant the hiking boots bag. Did we not bring it?
Discover new beauty must-haves at Boots. That's your summer sorted.
This is so wild that I actually, from a dream, started a business. I don't think I could ever work for anyone else ever again.
Get 3's unlimited SIM value plan, with EU roaming included. And roam like you're at home in the EU, from just £24 a month. Don't miss out. Go unlimited today. Buy now in store or at 3.co.uk today.
How long's it been then? We met about 8 years back. What? Yeah, serious relationship.
He has this way of looking into my eyes.
Knows how to treat me. Gentle, considerate.
Did I tell you he owns his own business?
I think he's going to pop the question.
Better or worse?
Better.
Our opticians and audiologists own their stores, so your care is their business, which can make them rather popular.
Apparently, he's seeing half the town.
Book an appointment today.
And the RCB team by the government of Karnataka. And Mumbai Instagram page stokes outrage, posts couples of videos without taking their consent. This is an Instagram account that has sparked outrage by posting the couples, whether they're at the beach in Mumbai or other areas in Mumbai, while displaying PDA, public display of affection. It's India, US and the non-veg milk deal breaker. We're talking about US cows fed blood, bone and feathers. Now, India says no when it comes to non-veg cow milk. Non-veg milk from cows is becoming a trade barrier when it comes to that trade deal between India and the United States. A very good afternoon. You're watching NDTV 24/7. I'm Divya Vadwal. Let's get you latest when it comes to another case of violence that's been reported in Maharashtra. We're talking about M&S workers targeting this man. We're talking about a Rajasthani man who was targeted by people in Vikhroli in Mumbai, again over language and Marathi pride. In this area of Vikhroli in Mumbai, the shopkeeper, a Marwari shopkeeper, was assaulted by M&S workers after allegations that he had made a post insulting the Marathi-speaking people. The incident took place outside his shop, where the M&S workers confronted him, physically assaulted him, forced him to issue a public apology to the entire Marathi community. There you can see him. He was made to, fold his hands, hold his ears, and apologize. This marks the latest in a series of confrontations involving M&S workers over Marathi identity. The victim, that Rajasthani shopkeeper, has now left the area. Well, let's get you, how defiant are the M&S workers? Well, Sujata, my colleague, NDTV did speak with one of the M&S workers there, the one you can see right standing in front, making this poor shopkeeper, making him apologize. However, the M&S worker remains completely unapologetic. Listen in.
एक बार फिर मनसे के कार्यकर्ताओं ने एक दुकानदार के साथ मारपीट की है। उन्हें मारा गया और साथ ही उसे बिना चप्पल के पूरे मार्केट में घुमाया गया और कहा गया कि दोबारा वो मराठी भाषा और मराठी मानुस को लेकर कुछ नहीं बोलेगा। फिलहाल वो व्यक्ति गांव जा चुका है, लेकिन हमारे साथ बात करने के लिए विश्वजीत ढोलम जी हैं, जो मनसे के विखरोली के विभाग प्रमुख है और उस वीडियो में ये भी नजर आ रहे हैं।
आपको मैं अभी एक लाइन बताता हूँ हिंदी में, चलो सबको समझना चाहिए कि ये क्या हो गया है उस दिन उधर। अगर ऐसा कुछ इमेज कोई रखता है अपना स्टेटस पे कि मराठी और महाराष्ट्र को हम लोग पेलेंगे और उसमें 3,000 लोगों का लाइक है और 1700 उधर में फॉरवर्ड किया है उन्होंने। अरे निखिल, आप कहना क्या चाह रहे हैं? निखिल, यहाँ जो चीज़ हो रही है मुंबई में, उसको लेके आप बहुत चिंतित हैं।
चिंतित इसलिए हैं क्योंकि पहली चीज़ तो हम यहाँ से हैं, दूसरी चीज़ ये है कि आपने बताया कि भाषा को लेकर जो है विवाद हो रहा है। भाषा को लेकर विवाद हो रहा है, मराठी मानुस में गुस्सा है। मनसे ने क्यों ये जिम्मेदारी ले ली है कि हम सबको मारेंगे, पीटेंगे और मराठी सिखाएंगे?
हम लोग फिर से मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ कि हम लोग को साहब ने बताया है कि हिंसा कोई भी हालत में आपको करनी नहीं है, तो इसीलिए हम लोग हिंसा नहीं कर रहे हैं। हम लोग समझा नहीं कि अलग अलग माध्यमों से हम लोग प्रयास कर रहे हैं। अगर वो समझते हैं तो ठीक है, नहीं समझते तो समझने के लिए और भी बहुत से अपने पास रास्ते हैं,
तरीकों पर जाना
है जो बराबर है।
तो राज ठाकरे जी ने आपने कहा कि आप लोगों को स्पष्ट निर्देश दिए गए हैं कि मारपीट नहीं करना है और अगर नहीं समझाने के बावजूद तब मारपीट करना है, जो रिकॉर्ड नहीं करना है। ये पूरी प्रणाली आप बताएं।
साहब ने हमें कहा है कि भाई मारपीट करनी नहीं है, नहीं जानते नहीं क्या हुआ, अगर वो नहीं समझते क्या करना है, ये सब हम लोग को कुछ बताया नहीं है।
Absolutely, and like we heard, this man who belongs to the M&S, who in fact is the Vibhag Pramukh of Vikhroli of the M&S, he says that there was no violence in the matter. It was just the presence-led fear in the shopkeeper, because of which he was seen in that condition, but people around the shop, they did tell us that yes, he was first beaten up within the shop and later brought out to give a message to the public and the passers-by and tell them that this is what happens when you oppose or say anything bad about the people of Maharashtra or the Marathi-speaking people. Now here, while we confronted this man, he says that people must have fear of the Marathi Manus, and if not, then they know of how the fear is to be created. And this was in the MNS style that he tried to do this. And it is very clear that Mumbai being a melting pot, people from across different arenas and sections of society, they come here and they try to earn and live a livelihood. And this is what structures the city of Mumbai. But parties like MNS, they in a manner are trying to justify their actions, and this is what draws the thin line between power and prejudice here. It is the MNS worker who clearly justifies it act, and he says that what he's done is somewhere had to be done, and this was done after the status was put up. If the story or the status by this particular man who's now gone back to his hometown, if he wouldn't have done so, they wouldn't have resorted to violence. But now that they've done it, they say that people across have got a clear message, and they have also been informed by Raj Thackeray to not make videos while they're hitting somebody, and just the confrontation part is to be recorded, is what he told us of, and which is why in the video they're not seen slapping the individual, but yes, the man in the video is in fear. He is apologizing, he's holding his ears and asking them for mercy on him, and this is very much evident to prove of what exactly would have happened with him for him to reach such a stage where he's begging for his safety and security. At present, we are outside Vikhroli police station. We tried contacting the officials, but no complaint so far has been registered as per sources as to this matter, because the man has left for his hometown, and these MNS workers, they are not really willing to register a complaint or get one against them, which is why we see all of these series of events happening. And so far, no suo motu cognizance has also been taken by the police in the matter yet.
Right, thank you so much, Sujata, for getting us all those details. The man remains defiant, unapologetic. In fact, there you can see how he was made to, this poor shopkeeper by the MNS workers was made to hold, his ears, fold his hands and apologize to the MNS workers. And let's get your reactions coming about from the government in Maharashtra. Let's listen in to Yogesh Kadam.
जो भी वहाँ पे जिन लोगों को मारा गया है, जो भी हाथापाई हुई है, बिल्कुल गलत है और लीगल एक्शन लिया जाएगा। एक ही पॉलिटिकल पार्टी जब भी ऐसी तरह से इंसिडेंट करते जाती है, तो थोड़ा मतलब वहाँ पे एक डाउट के लिए जगह रहती है। और मेरा ये मानना है कि सिर्फ ये पॉलिटिक्स चल रहा है मुंबई कॉर्पोरेशन इलेक्शन के लिए, मराठी वोटर्स को अट्रैक्ट करने के लिए, मराठी वोटर्स को ये जताने के लिए कि देखिए हम ही मराठी के लिए लड़ रहे हैं और कोई लड़ नहीं रहा है। तो मेरे ख्याल से उस इंटेंशन से ये सब चीज़ें चल रही है, ऐसे लग रहा है। बट मीनवाइल जो भी इलीगल एक्टिविटीज उन्होंने की है, जो भी उन्होंने लोगों को मारा है, तो वहाँ पे एक्शन तो ली जाएगी।
आप एक गुंडे कैसे बिहेव कर रहे हो सर? मेरी आप तो एक मेरा Gaikwad is running away from NDTV's questions.
That issue is not before the High Command. It was not discussed so far.
Kolhapuri couples costing $1,300.
The noise we made finally got heard, and it's so nice that somebody took action on it.
Pictures and videos of women that were taken in the Bengaluru metro, now on Church Street and other prominent places in Bengaluru. We managed to arrest both of them.
We are bringing you now, for the very first time, is that the Air India preliminary crash report is out.
This 15-page report into 10 key findings of what really is being said in this probe report.
What's reporting without impact? NDTV 24/7.
Switching tracks to a shocking incident that's come to light from Bihar. Firing that has taken place inside a hospital. We're talking about the Paras Hospital, very close to the police headquarters in Patna, that took place early this morning. There were 5 men holding on to guns who entered inside the Paras Hospital and opened fire at an inmate. The 5 attackers fired multiple rounds at Chandan Mishra, who was on parole for medical treatment at the Paras Hospital. We have Manoranjan Bharti joining us to get us the latest on this. Manoranjan Bharti, of course, there are a lot of reactions coming about. It's a very shocking case, and of course, Tejasvi Yadav hitting out at the government saying, is anyone really safe in the state of Bihar?
नहीं, आपका कहना सही है कि पुलिस हेडक्वार्टर के नज़दीक हॉस्पिटल है, ये बहुत हाई प्रोफाइल हॉस्पिटल है, लेकिन जब मैंने पुलिस बिहार के डीजीपी से बात की तो उन्होंने कहा कि ये हॉस्पिटल की जिम्मेवारी है कि वहाँ पे सुरक्षा कैसी होनी चाहिए। उन्होंने कहा कि आपने किसी भी प्राइवेट हॉस्पिटल में कोई भी पुलिसकर्मी या पुलिसमैन को नहीं देखा होगा, वो उनकी जिम्मेवारी है। लेकिन डीजीपी का ये कहना है कि हमने आइडेंटिफाई कर लिया है, जो शूटर्स हैं उनके वीडियो भी जारी किए गए, स्टिल्स भी जारी किए गए। उनका कहना है कि ये गैंग वार है, जिसको मारा गया वो भी अपराधी है, वो पेरोल पे छूटा था, जो मारने वाला है वो भी दो गैंग की लड़ाई है। डीजीपी का ये कहना है कि बिहार में कोई क्राइम सिंडिकेट जैसी चीज़ नहीं चल रही है, कोई या फिर कोई ऑर्गेनाइज क्राइम नहीं है, ये गैंगवार हो सकता है। और उनका कहना है कि अगले 48 आवर में वो अपराधी को पकड़ लेंगे, क्योंकि उन्होंने अपराधियों को आइडेंटिफाई कर लिया है। चूँकि ये चुनाव का साल है, अब नवंबर में यहाँ पे इलेक्शन होने वाले हैं, इसलिए हर एक किलिंग जो है चुनाव का मुद्दा बनेगा, इस बात से कोई भी डिनाई नहीं कर सकता।
बिल्कुल मनोज कुमार झा ने भी बोला है दैट द लॉ एंड ऑर्डर सिचुएशन जब बिहार को लेते हैं वो नेशनल कंसर्न है, और प्राइम मिनिस्टर के बारे में बोला गया है कि कोई फैक्ट फाइंडिंग कमेटी भेजें बिहार को। दैट इज द डिमांड दैट्स बीइंग मेड बाय द ऑपोजिशन।
निश्चित रूप से अपोजिशन के लिए तो ये फॉर्डर के तरह है कि यदि अगले 3-4 महीने में इलेक्शन हो और यदि लगातार जो वारदात क्राइम की हो तो वो उनके लिए एक मुद्दा बनेगा, और वो लगातार बना भी रहे। लेकिन पुलिस का कहना है, यदि आप डीजीपी से बात करें तो वो आंकड़े पेश करते हैं। वो कहते हैं कि यदि आप देखें तो लगातार जो है किलिंग्स के आंकड़े कम हुए हैं, तो वो अपने पक्ष में, अपने डिफेंस में जो है वो नंबर्स देते हैं। लेकिन चूंकि मैं कह रहा हूँ बार बार कि इलेक्शन ईयर है, ये हर चीज़ यहाँ पर जो है वो मुद्दा बनेगा, चाहे वो खेमका की किलिंग हो, चाहे वो सैन जो एक बिजनेसमैन की हत्या हुई थी वो हो, या बाकी किलिंग्स हो। तो ये चीज़ें जो है आने वाले दिनों में आपको और देखने को मिलेगी कि हर वो